Welcome to The Real Generation Gap. I'm Rudy Ruiz.
I'm Fred Satilli.
And today we're going to be discussing Sergio Corbucci's 1967 film. This is The Hellbenders. So The Hellbenders is one of my favorites of his movies I've seen so far. This stars Joseph Cotton as a Confederate colonel named Jonas, who just after the end of the Civil War, along with his sons, they murder a convoy of Union soldiers traveling with, I think it was millions of dollars, they said, some crazy amount of money, with the goal of using the money to restart the Confederate army and, fight for his cause. And so this follows their journey. Jonas, his three sons, and a woman they have to pretend to be the widow, okay, because they put the money into a coffin. So their whole act is that they're traveling to Santa Fe from Nashville to bury their dead loved one, when really it has the money from the stolen convoy inside. So adventure ensues as they've got to travel and meet a lot of perilous moments and people and stuff going wrong, and
Indians, Mexican bandits, vagrants, corrupt city officials, and
other Union soldiers, everything. And I mean, I really dig this movie. I think it's
the best obstacle was the guy who he knew the dead guy.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh no, there's a guy who actually knows the dead guy.
Yeah.
And he knew his wife, so he would know she wasn't the wife.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they met him, he was a blind man. So he was like, oh, this is so great, my friend,
Yeah. There's many good moments like that of suspense, like with each obstacle they have to kind of overcome in their journey. And I like that. I feel like it's a nice tight movie at 90 minutes, and it feels like, every 10 minutes, there's the next event that happens. So it's a really good, it's not like super action packed necessarily. It has those moments.
Oh, it covers a lot of ground.
Yeah.
It doesn't leave you, where you're stagnant and they're doing some kind of
it's always
unnecessary part.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's very economical. It's always moving forward. Each obstacle is like a little tougher than the one before. It really kind of crescendos to the end. And I mean, I like all the...
you get to the point where you just want to kill everybody. Like, now what? Now, the wagon broke.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Yeah, all this stuff. And this guy's just trying to make it happen.
We're in the middle of Indian territory with a broken wagon. Just the worst. And just so you know, on the money issue, this is the way I remember it. There was a guy counting the money, and he said 350,000 so far, 200,000 to go.
So it
must have been 550,000 roughly.
Yeah,
that was the amount. And the reason they wanted the money was so that they could finance the South again, so that the South could rise again and fight against the North again.
Yeah,
even though the war was over, he's like, it's not over for me.
Yeah,
I'm going to reconstitute the Confederate Army, and we're going to go get those Yankees.
Yeah. and it's interesting. It's one of these movies where it's kind of like The Wild Bunch, in that you're there with like the bad guys essentially, right? And we kick it off with like the massacre of like, I think 20 or 30 people, and the fact that we learn a lot about them so quick. When after they kill all the soldiers so that they can get the money, they have two other guys with them. So it's Jonas and his three sons, Ben, Nat, and John, Joe, something like that. Right. The rapist guy, the creep guy. And they have their other two dudes with them. And the moment all the Union soldiers are dead, they just whack these two guys.
Right.
And even Ben's like, oh, why did we do that? They were with us. And he's like, they're just in it for the money. They're not for the cause. Like, he's so hell-bent on his mission and his goal of, as you said,
ground.
Where this money is specifically to jumpstart our military and all that. And I mean, that was a hell of an opening. I remember just being like, oh, okay, here we go. This is what we're dealing with here.
Right.
These are our
that
people.
Alone with the usual suspects. You know what I mean? Like, that alone was the first eye opener.
Yeah. And I will say for the audience, I mean, I definitely recommend this if you haven't seen it. We're going to get into spoiler territory. So just be aware of that. This movie is left better if you go in not knowing much. So take the recommendation from me if you're into Corbucci or want to explore more spaghetti westerns. Well worth watching. But yeah, let's talk spoilers now. because there's a lot to say here. Another kind of big moment for me is we establish our main characters, the three sons, Jonas, and then Kitty, who is kind of a drunken woman, like definitely has been in a relationship with Jonas, the father, but he doesn't really care about her because she's just a tool to be the widow for this fake coffin, right? Because the money's in the coffin, which I think is just such a good idea. And they even have their permit and everything. And
well, now let me talk about that, because I had a weird slant on that. Right? They're showing everybody the permit. Now, Corbucci is an Italian. And this is, I mean, the Italians were connected with the Nazis in World War II. So I don't know that after the Civil War that you had a permit to carry a body across the Wild West or something. But everybody, it was like, our papers are in order. Like that was the reason. Like, oh no, it's okay. We have this piece of paper. And then nobody said like, I don't care. They went, oh, well, let me take a look at that. Yeah. And they were like, we're real careful. And to me, it seemed like a Nazi checkpoint. Right. It seemed like out of place. It had like a Yodereski feel at that point, like, and I was kind of like, nah. Yeah, I mean, I wonder, I don't know, and I wonder if a lot of it is the fact that I don't think they say a specific year, but I'd imagine it's like very soon after the war has ended. And one thing I think is interesting too is they're wearing their gray hats, and Jonas has his like they're not hiding who they are. Yeah, they're not hiding who they are at all. And when I first put it on, I immediately thought that maybe there'd be, as soon as they came across any, northern soldiers, it'd be like fight after fight and a problem. But they play it very well and just like, oh no, we're all good and cordial. This is my son-in-law, and it's a war hero going home. I understand you were on the losing side. And there was no face-off. North and south. And I like that aspect of it. I think I imagine that may have been a little more authentic, and I think it would have been too easy to just, all right, we're just going to blast everyone, and I wouldn't be as into the characters that much. And one of the big first kind of surprises for me is we establish our characters. We have Kitty, who's playing the widow, the sons, and Jonas. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be our crew. We're following them for the movie. Right. They already killed off the other two guys within the first couple minutes, which is interesting. And who could have figured on who was next? Yeah, right. But, when Kitty ends up getting killed by one of the sons, I'm pretty sure it's now I got to look it up. I'm pretty sure his name was Joe, but he was also the actor that was in Django. If anyone's seen that, he's the one that gets his ear cut off in that, and then clearly Quentin took that for Reservoir Dogs. I don't remember. Jeff, that's his name. Not Jeff. But pretty close. It's some one of those J names. Either that or John. But that was I like that obstacle too, because that happens pretty early on, and it's like, oh, now we don't have a widow. Now we have to find another lady to do this and convince her to come through, and that takes us to the saloon scene, which I do like. That Claire is the new person they're going to get, and he just tells his son, like, go into town, get a whore, because women in the Old West, I've been watching a lot of Old West shows and stuff lately, like that. And they use the word whore a lot. It wasn't like now you would say like a prostitute or something like that. It's a little bit refined. But then there were women who like, me and these other whores. Like, right. It didn't have such a vile connotation. It was just sort of like they were like practitioner sex workers. Yeah, that was just kind of the norm. Doing their thing or something. And that's surprising. But he did go in and fetch the best girl. Yeah. Well, I like her character too, that she's not just a whore or some like damsel, that she's a card shark who's like playing all these guys and all that. Like, and there was a lot of that. I mean, some of those girls were good gunners, and some of them were good to handle it. They had to handle a lot of, they were handling bad people and rough people and ignorant people and dirty people. And just imagine the hygiene challenges and just the whole, like, what you can do and can't do. And man, oh man, you got to wonder. I wonder about that a lot. Like I have to believe that these cowboys and stuff, they might have been looking for like a mother figure or something. Like they might have been some of them were just rapists, you know, but there probably were many that just like wanted to talk to somebody, or, you know, they were a little intimidated, you know, something like that. Like you see in a lot of these Westerns, or one of the guys wants to marry one of them and take her away from all this.
Right.
You know, they're kind of a knight in armor deal going on. So I always wonder all the people that went west and that you know, I mean, because the ones that the prostitutes, I mean, a lot of them just came out like on a train.
Right.
They just dumped them in a major city or something. They had some kind of problem back home, or man, oh man, it's. You know, these are the thousands and thousands of stories that we'll never hear.
Yeah, right.
Each one of those people probably has a really heavy story. You know what I mean? Like the woman killed her evil stepfather who raped her, and now she had jumped on the train and get the hell out of there, and she had nothing but her clothes. You know, you got to wonder.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, back to the movie.
A lot of crazy stories for sure.
Yeah.
But I like the way Ben kind of exposes her cheating as a means to kind of, you know, spark up this issue, this big fight, and so that he can convince her to go with him. And I think this is a really well shot fight for that time. I love the way he covers the fight scene and this moment in the saloon with Ben and these other guys. And there's this great stunt where he's on the stairs and he does this like backflip thing over and it's all like in shot. They didn't like cut away, and he does this really cool move.
Right.
And,
you really believe it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that guy just did this, you know, flip move. And it's really well done and really well shot. I think Corbucci does well with a lot of these action scenes and knew when to let, you know, stunt people really shine. And this is stuff that we would really come to see in later films, and even going as far as John Wick and whatnot. You know, you see a lot of that in Navajo Joe, where Burt Reynolds does a lot of his own stuff in camera and they just hold on it. And so I really like that moment. And then, you know, her getting sucked into this ordeal now that she's kind of trapped.
But she embraced it well.
She did.
Like, she was like, if I'm going to play the part, like, she's like a method actress, you know.
And I love that too, how she's definitely torn, and when she finds out what it's all about, and she's, oh man, well, you know, she's kind of stuck in it. But when she has her moment where she's got to save them, when it's the whole and the guys want to open up the coffin.
Oh, they're opening it. They're hammering it open.
And again, like, just good.
And you know, that was such a good moment. That was such a good line where they're getting ready to open the coffin. The jig is going to be up.
Yeah.
And she says, let me do this. And they all go, oh. You go, all right, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to make her do it. So that was tremendous writing, you know? And I really appreciated that moment.
Yeah. Well, just the suspense and the pacing getting up to that. He really he takes his time to let it unfold. And you go to like the shots of like the close-ups of Joseph Cotton and his sons and
that's
and
Corbucci,
the eyes.
right.
Yeah. And then the close-up of like the hands starting to move towards the guns and the, you know, the hammers going into the wood, and then her and how she's going to react. And
that's why I always tell everybody, appreciate these editors.
Yeah.
There's thousands of cuts.
Yeah.
We see the movie as one big flowing sequence, but man, some guy sat there in that exact amount of time.
I had to make those decisions.
And those are all smash cuts.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's just like that much. That much is kind of, Hitchcock is real good for that too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's an art to like the length of how long you're going to stretch this out and lean on all these shots, and even the order in which you you go to someone's eyes and then to the gun and all that.
We talked about that on the X-Files episode.
Yeah.
Where there was like a sequence of like 4 things were happening at once, and they gave you a little taste of each one. So it just kept all 4 of them going until finally they all converged and everybody get killed.
Yeah. and I do buy her relationship with Ben too, how that kind of develops. I feel like maybe it's just me now, but I've been watching a lot of movies lately where I don't connect with that part of it, or I feel like, the relationship happens too quick. With them, I don't know. It feels authentic to me between those two characters. One of the
things that really adds to that is when you can't consummate, right? So there she is, there you are, you're circling each other, but you're in an environment where you can't, you know, just go off together. So everything that you do together has got to all be like in code and like little winks and little nods and little like, because you're not gonna, you're far from where you want to get.
Yeah.
Both people are. So they're making little micro contracts. Like, are we still good? Are we still good? We're still good, right? We're getting closer. It's gonna, somehow we got to get out of now our relationship supersedes what's going on. Like, however this works out for everybody, that's one thing, but we're gonna get out of here and cleanse ourselves of this dirt, and we're gonna be okay. It's an interesting dynamic. And there's a lot of that in real life.
Yeah.
So it really adds to the stuff like that is so subtle, but it's so well understood by the viewer. Like you don't think about it. You're like, oh, I see what's going on here.
Yeah, you get it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up another one of the great moments is when they end up in that town to get some supplies.
Right.
And they run into people that knew the name that they dropped. And that was another one of those moments where watching this for the first time, and I love it. It's scene after scene of like, oh, how are they getting out of this one, And then just so lucky that this guy happens to be blind, right? And this leads to, I think, one of the probably the major turning point for her, because
she didn't want the blind guy to be killed.
Yeah,
that was a little too much cruelty.
Yeah, that was really rough, and it didn't necessarily need to happen.
Speaking of that, this movie is called The Hellbenders, but in Italian,
I Crudelli.
Right, it's the cruel one. Cruel one. Pronounce that better for the audience.
I think it was I Crudelli.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll throw that poster up.
Nice job. I mean, my name is Satilli, so I want to see how you do with that. But yeah, I Crudelli.
Yeah.
Cruel one, and they were cruel.
Yeah.
So.
And I like that because it's good in that we get to the point where there are characters, right?
Just so that it's clear about the Hellbenders, that's when they were in the Southern Army. That was like their regiment.
Yeah.
And they had the regimental flag, and they even had the coffin wrapped in the regimental flag. And the one guy, Joseph Cotton, said, this is the protection. This flag is the protection of the coffin, right? Like he had his thing together. He was really playing the role.
Yeah.
But that's why it's called the Hellbenders, because otherwise the name doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That was their
Southern military regiment,
And they reference that a few times in the film.
And to him, to Joseph Cotton, that flag was the most important thing they were carrying because it was sanctified right to the end, right to the bitter end.
Yeah. I was going to mention that.
Sorry.
Sorry. I like that. I'm going to go back to that part because that's one of my favorite moments and one of my favorite shots ever. But I feel like we get drawn into the characters enough, and there's still bad things happening. Jeff is clearly the kind of unhinged brother that might be a little more evil after we see him.
He was the rapist, right?
Yeah, that one, what he tries to do with her. And I feel like because we see them, overcoming this stuff, and for the movie, it's like, all right, we're on the journey with this crew, whether we like them or not. And I think the movie does a good job of I want them to get out of there,
Right. We were rooting for them to make it across the Hondo.
Yeah. But when Nat goes and kills the blind man, and I just love the subtext of that, how him and the father both knew. Jonas just tells him, oh, we forgot to get some oil. Yeah. Nat, go back and get the oil in the town. And he's like, yep. And he goes and he knows exactly what to do.
Right. Yeah.
And then he comes back and,
they say, where's the oil? The oil.
Because I got these, though, and they got the pictures. And, clearly, I just like that we get that scene to kind of remind us, oh, yeah, these are the cruel ones. Yep.
Right.
And then she makes her decision, which is, man, such a slap in the face, to everybody when they end up in that fort. Are you going to spoil it?
Are you going to spoil it?
Yeah, I gave the warning already, so we're all in. But when we get to that fort, and she decides to tell him, oh, you know what? I think I want my husband buried here.
In the fort that he once governed.
Yeah.
He was the commandant of that fort. Now, in the meantime, the money's in the coffin.
Yes.
They want to take the money home, right?
Yeah.
She's like, you know what? Now that we're here and the whole army is all around me.
Yeah.
Right? I think we're going to honor him by burying him. The Joseph Cotton is like,
they just have to sit there and take it. And it's like, no, daughter, don't you think he'd want to be home?
Yeah.
Let's get him
No,
home. No, I think here.
I'd be much better. We'll honor him and the fort and all these guys, and they're like, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Boy, that's really, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, holy mackerel.
That's a rough moment. They just got to sit there and take it. I mean, one thing too. The first time I saw it, I watched this movie. I thought that they got the wrong coffin, like by accident.
Right.
But then I noticed this time, I didn't catch this the first time, that when they're taking the coffin away back through like the wall, there's a part where they want to open it. And Ben is like, no, don't open it. Like we got to go, like keep it closed.
Yeah.
So I feel like he definitely knew it wasn't. And even when they get there,
you got that feeling that he knew that was the wrong one?
Yeah. Because when they get there, they ask, they're like, are you sure it's this one? He's like, yeah, it's the fresh dirt, even though they buried like 3 bodies that day,
right.
including the money one, because they had the 2 other guys.
And including the guy that was the adversary.
Yeah.
Right.
The bandit guy. And
yeah, he was hanged.
Yeah. In the see you in hell, he says, in the way that comes back, because we reveal him being in there, is just, oh my God, it's so good. And it's like, man, he was right. See you in hell. Oh man, it's so good. But yeah, because he says that, and then when they're carrying it out, he tells them not to open it. So I suspect that he knew, and he did it on purpose. But
And
I guess it could play either way.
you would think that coffin would be unique compared to the one that the guy they hanged.
Right.
Like, how could you mistake it? Like the military one that they were carrying, you'd think it would have had like some kind of brand on it or some kind of markings that, you know, like that was a little bit unbelievable for me.
Yeah. When it really
but
was.
It was at night.
Yeah. And it really was just a box. Like, even when they're carrying it, like, without the flag and all that, it's just a box. Like, yeah, no fancy anything.
No.
You know?
Yep.
Bare minimum. Yeah, I mean, I love that. And then we get to this whole final.
Isn't that interesting that for some reason we boxed our dead? You think just, you know, wrap them in a blanket and put them in,
bury them in,
or not even, or something. But they, in all Western movies and stuff, they always have like the graveyard undertaker guy. Like, he's always, you know, Clint Eastwood says, you better make 4 more of those. Like, you know, we box our dead. Like, culturally, okay. You know, you think they could have, Indians cremated them, right? They always burned them on those pyres.
Yeah.
But somehow we, the civilized people,
put them in a box,
clap together some pine box, and you know, and they always,
that we can make money off of later. It's a good business. It's a good little racket they got.
Pretty weird when you think about it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I love this final kind of confrontation too. You know, they pass through the Indian territory, and at this point, they're a peaceful group, so they're not really sweating it. But
they
immediately,
would have been a peaceful group.
Yeah, and immediately, and I love how simply Corbucci plants the seeds, just based on the information we have of Jeff from earlier in the movie with killing Kitty really quickly, and then assaulting Claire. That all it took is a shot of like a young Indian girl looking, and then a close-up of Jeff for a couple seconds.
He notices her.
And then it just like, we cut to the rest of it. Like, you just get those 2 shots. So you already know when it comes to the moment of like, oh, I'll go back there and get whatever we need to get through the territory. And as the audience, I mean, and maybe let me know if you didn't feel this way, but I immediately was like, oh no, we know it. Like, we know it's going to happen.
Right.
Just because he gave us those 2 close-ups, and it's good filmmaking, you know?
Yeah. But, you know, of all the conflicts they had the Mexican bandits conflicts and everything. But to me, the best one was the vagrant guy.
I agree.
And it just goes to show you that if you're humble enough, they will disregard you. Mm-hmm. So here they all went to sleep with the stranger in the camp, because they just figured he just had no power. He was just on death's door, practically a skinny vagrant guy that was half crazy, but he wasn't crazy. He captured them all. Yeah, you know, like because they allowed that. Mm-hmm. That you got to be smarter in a case like that. It's like, look, whatever, you know, you're almost better off killing him and just eliminating any possibility that he'll divulge who you are or which way you went or what you had with you or, you know, any kind of thing like that. Like the fact that they allowed him to stay, but also there should have been a sentry. Yeah. Somebody should have been up, you know, making sure that shit didn't happen because, well, I shouldn't say, you know, but that stuff didn't happen. But they didn't, and they got caught. And I don't know if it was his strategy, but I guess it was, because once he was in control, he was pretty sharp. He was still kind of like crazy.
Yeah. Oh, right? He knew exactly what he was doing. And yeah, it's funny. I think I'm glad that that's kind of the note it ends on, because of all the people they came across and everything. It's like to have that be the guy that kind of bested them. All of them, like the one guy against all like 4 or 5 of these people,
Yeah.
is interesting. And he's another one of those familiar faces that's in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and a bunch of other movies.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the character actors here. And I mean, I guess it would have all fallen apart anyway, because I think it's right after that. And then Jeff runs up and he's got the tribe coming behind him like, they tried to kill me when I went in there and this and that. And now they're in this whole Mexican standoff, the brothers against each other, and Joseph Cotton accidentally getting hit and all that, and it's too bad. And like how quickly it fell apart within a matter of a couple minutes in the end there, of like, again, all the things they've gone through to get to this point, and ultimately it was like themselves that destroyed it all, like between the brothers. Yeah. And man, that moment, the soundtrack, Ennio Morricone, again, great as always. I love it. I hear some people don't care for it. I love this one, even though there's not that much variety in the music in this one compared to some of the other films he's composed. They use that main theme a lot, but I really dig it. And this whole shot of, the brothers are dead. Ben kind of comes to, Claire's sick, the Indians left. The vagrant guy's dead, all his bloodshed, and Joseph Cotton just trying to make it to the water. And that the other crazy part too is it was right there. They just camped out for the night. They were there in the home stretch. But man, him barely making it to the water, the trail of blood, and that last shot of the flag sinking into the river is brilliant. Yeah, it's so good. Just that moment is so powerful.
End.
Man, I love that. Yeah, this is a great movie.
Well, thanks for recommending it. It was certainly fun for me to watch.
Yeah. Well, what's your take? Any final thoughts?
No, I think we covered it all pretty well.
Yeah.
This is, to me, I don't love it the way you love it. But to me, it's a fun movie to watch. Yeah. But it's one of many like it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't really stand out.
Okay.
It's just one more of the, there's how many movies are like this, and I had seen it before, but I didn't remember lots of parts and everything, so it was kind of good review.
Right.
And I find that even though I'm old and I've seen many of these things many times, it's still, I enjoy watching them again, and that's how I feel about this movie.
Yeah. Recommend, must watch, no recommend. What do you got for the audience? I guess instead of our ranking.
I'm pretty indifferent that way.
Okay.
No reason not to, but no special reason you gotta. Yeah. That's how I feel.
I'm going to say probably not. It's a must watch if you're already a fan of the genre. Like, this is one for sure to see. If you're just a kind of run-of-the-mill movie fan, then recommend. High recommend if you're really into Quentin Tarantino movies. There's clearly a lot of the influence he gets from this director. He talks about him all the time. So yeah, well, that's a wrap on this one, everybody. Go and check out this film if you haven't seen it, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.